My name is Amy Landon. I'm an audiobook narrator and an actress, and today I am in my booth, as you can see, working on a book called Warden's Will by Heath Pfaff. This is going to be coming out soon on Audible. It's a YA horror fantasy, dark but amazing. It's got some just incredible action passages, as well as thoughts on morality, ethics, and the nature of power. Right now I'm working on a scene where they're being hunted by a big awful wolf that they're trying to kill. So I hope you enjoy sharing this time in the booth with me. I'm going to do this live, so if I mess up, I do what I normally do, which is I stop and I go back and I fix it, and then I keep going. Thank you. The beast came stalking down the center of the road, making no effort to hide itself. The size was alarming. I'd seen wolves before, though only in captivity, but this one dwarfed any I'd ever encountered. It was larger than a pack mule, as we'd been told, and every inch of it rippled with muscle. It had white fur, or fur that had once been white, but now it was a dingy gray color, and as it drew nearer, I could see black things wiggling and writhing through its once pristine coat. They looked like snakes, but as I watched them, they dug into the beast's hide, burrowing through its flesh as though nestled within. They looked like snakes, but as I watched them, they dug into the beast's hide, burrowing through its flesh as though nested within the poor thing. It was infested, a bit like the fell clerics, but to a much greater degree. Its eyes were tarnished gold. It stopped, just as it was about to enter the town, lifting its nose to the air and taking in the scents before it. Those tarnished eyes immediately snapped to Zarkov, and then to me, and a low, deep growl rumbled through the air. I had my weapon in hand, and my body was coiled, ready to move. We had to determine this creature's capabilities. Lina would need to see it move before she attacked, because she'd only get one good run with her spear. It snarled, sharp canine teeth exposed, one of the dark worm creatures crawling from its mouth just to dive back into its cheek. It was unnerving to witness, but I tried to remain calm. The wolf charged. The burst of speed was sudden and explosive. It went right for Zark, darting across the ground with a lethal burst of speed. He dashed and rolled from its path, and it tumbled past as it tried to stop the forward momentum it had created, rolling across the ground in a cloud of dust and a shower of dirt. Zarkov was back on his feet and moving into a stronger position as I snuck up behind the beast and spun my staff with all the speed I could muster, delivering a staggering blow to the back leg of the wolf thing. I'd expected to fracture at the hit, and I did hear a snap. But to my horror, a mass of the black snake worm things erupted from the struck skin and bound the torn flesh back, knotting into the damaged area like cords of muscle around bone. It rounded on me, jaws extending as it snapped forward, trying to get a hold of me. I jumped back, swinging my staff defensively and slapping it hard in the side of the head. The blow should have stopped the creature in its tracks, but it kept coming forward. I turned and ran as the beast came clambering after. One of the advantages of having a staff weapon was that it offered a mobility that other weapons didn't allow for. I used that to my advantage in that moment. As I ran, I planted the end of the staff and used my forward momentum to lift and fling myself with the flexibility of the pole. I sailed through the air and landed atop a nearby roof, rolling and coming back to my feet quickly as the wolf behind me growled and snapped at the roof line. I wasn't certain that I was safe where I was. The wolf was huge, and it might have been capable of following me up onto the roof. I heard Zark give a roar, and then saw him charge the wolf's flank. His weapon flashed as he struck again and again, and this certainly got the wolf god's attention. It spun back around, snapping at him as he took off running the other way. The wolf was on him quickly, changing direction and darting down on him as though it intended to end him without a moment of hesitation. I heard a signal whistle from off to one side and realized that Lina was ready for us now. The roof beneath me passed in a blur as I raced to the end and used my staff to jump across the street to another building. It was a long fling, but I had experience with such movements at that point. I landed smoothly and had gained ground on the wolf and Zark. I leapt down from this rooftop and brought the staff down on the center of the creature's back as I sailed past. While I leapt down from this rooftop and brought the staff down on the center of the creature's back as I sailed past. While I was close to its body, I saw one of the terrible black snake-like things reach for me and just avoided contact with it as I dove aside and turned back in the direction of Lina's signal. I had no desire to be touched by whatever parasite had infested the poor creature. That seemed dangerous. If those things could take down that massive wolf, I didn't want to know what they would do if they got themselves inside of me. I hit the ground running, charging in the direction I'd heard Lina signal from, and the wolf was after me quickly. It had to entirely change directions to get to me, but it did so fast. It had to entirely change directions to get to me, but it did so fast. Having a monster breathing down my neck was great inspiration to run as hard as I ever had before. I gave myself fully to running away, and just as I rounded the house in front of me, Lina was suddenly there, charging the opposite way. We passed within inches of one another. I heard her groan as she fell to the ground and brought her spear up directly in the charging wolf's path, planting the blunt end. It was too late for our god creature to stop itself. I barely had time to break my own momentum and turn. The wolf fell on the spear with a roar of rage, embedding the weapon nearly 3/4 of the way into its chest as Lina rolled out and away, looking quite unhappy that she'd lost her weapon. Thank you for joining me, and check out the book when it comes out.